Good morning, everybody. Today I'm doing like a behind the scenes video of all the shorts that I've done up till now. Originally, like way back when I started my video production program, as it's called at my college, I was kind of just interested in making like these little shorts that were mostly about like horror movies, but as time went on, like I kind of wanted to like make an actual film, and I thought that the farthest I'd go would be just like making that one half-hour film that combined like two, three, four shorts that I've already done. This is kind of like a behind the scenes of everything that I have done in the last 3 to almost 4 years. So originally, for cameras, like I'll admit, like I didn't have a lot to go off of. I had this really like old camcorder. That's basically what I used originally for my first one, I think 2 shorts. I still liked using my phone a lot because like it was convenient. The other reason was because I've said this many times, but like I enjoy the first person look, like the perspective it gives you of like seeing through the characters' eyes, like when they're doing an action, whether they are running or like throwing a punch or anything, or like even if they're shooting. I always think that those I always liked those shots. Over the last couple of years, I've acquired like quite a few video cameras. A few of them are technically older than I am. Like the one I have right now can shoot in 4K. Same as with the phone that I have. There is this like really old view cam that came out in 1999 where it was discontinued, so like you can't get the parts for it anymore. But I'm really interested in working on that one, and that will be like in a future short. In addition to the camera shots in general, like I also kind of like showing the movements and everything like from multiple angles, and the way I do this is showing like multiple cameras, and this is probably gone off of like when I work at the news station, but like I like the fact that you can go from one camera to the next to show people talking or doing actions or anything, because I believe that first and foremost it helps you save time, right? Where if you have to shoot the same thing over and over again with using one camera, I feel like that's time consuming, and it also runs the risk of being contradictory. Like say you decide that one shot looks nice for one camera, but for the second camera you decide that a different shot looks nice, but say the way that the cadence of the person speaking, or like how fast they are moving, like it contradicts, the way they move in each shot contradicts each other. So I prefer using like 3 cameras if possible. 2 is alright, but I don't usually like shooting with only one camera. For audio, I do not actually do too much. I mean, like right now I'm not even wearing a microphone. There's a few times where I have used mics when I like truly have to, but here in my own controlled environment, I'm able to make it so that it can be pretty quiet, so that my voice can be heard here, such as like even if it's simple of just like having doors shut, or like or covering up the vents or anything. I'm able to make so that like my voice is pretty clear, so that I don't even need to use a microphone at sometimes. I have gotten some equipment that where if I do need to use it, like I have a few lavalier microphones, as well as a small boom mic that I can attach to my video camera. The music that I have done is pretty bare bones. I used to take piano lessons as a kid during school, but I don't anymore. However, I do still play every now and then, and that's kind of where I decided to use piano music for basically all of my shorts. The main draw is not the music for me, it's kind of like the visuals. I kind of try to keep the music to like a bit of a minimal sound, because I want people to like see what is on the screen and like not be told how to feel by the music. I try to do all the sound effects on my own. I take pride in that, such as like when a person is getting hit, like I just record myself like just hitting my palm like that. And sometimes I also like punch a book or punch leather, things, stuff like that make punching noise. There are other kind of sound effects such as like gunfire or what sounds like bombs in the distance, where I've also done those sounds myself. I've actually fired a gun to get those sounds, and if I have to, sometimes I put it into an audio editing software to make it more high pitched, to make it sound like crackling. Or I use these like small crackle balls and just light them all at once to get the sound where it just sounds like they're going off one after the other. Every other sound effect, I try to get them on my own. If I have to, then I will use it from a free library that I received during school. Same with the music. I try to be minimal on the sound effects in general. I'll be honest. Like I've used like everyday clothes mostly. I tried to throw them together to make them make sense. Such as back when I was making the Headsman, I was kind of pulling from clothes that made me think of like the serial killers and slashers of the 80s, such as like the workman's gloves, the torn up jacket, the dark clothes, the boots. The burlap sack was the only the sack over the head was the only thing that I actually made myself. For that one, I literally just cut it up a bit and then sewed some of it back together, cut out the eye holes. I had originally wanted to sew like some black cloth or black material over the eyes to give it like a blacked out eye effect, which I had eventually used like on the movie masks that I basically created for like Jason Voorhees, and the one of Michael Myers that I got that I slightly modified. Aside from that, the costumes that I have, either I have bought them or I have just thrown together clothes that I have around my house. And the masks themselves, I just make do with what I have. For the props, I have tried to use like actual items, because I kind of like, I think it's a little bit more realistic, such as the reflex hammer for that one Doctor short. Those are all real. I've bought those, thankfully, for a cheaper price. Even the stuff like the brains, I've had to buy those too. Like I couldn't create those on my own, unfortunately. And that segues into talking about one of my favorite subjects, the fake blood and gore effects. So, originally I was going to get like the standard fake blood from like my local Halloween store, but when I used it, like to me it just didn't really feel right. I mean, I thought it looked a little bit weird, and it also felt a little bit like weird to me. So what I did was I tried creating my own, like just using household ingredients, right? So So what I used was a mix of ketchup, hot sauce, and red food coloring. That's how I got the fake blood effects for a few of my shorts. For the short and Numbskull the Clown specifically, I actually used some rope sausage for the effect of the person getting his intestines ripped out. And thankfully, the rope sausage, I was able to get that at like my local meat market. It was really great. It was exactly what I wanted, because originally I was gonna use actual actual animal parts, but when I got them, they weren't like bloated out or anything, and they were also like black in color. Interestingly enough, I had also tried getting like actual pig's blood from there, but the blood was not coagulated. I did use an actual pig's heart though for the headsman shorts. Doing up those gore effects and making the fake blood myself, those were some of my favorite moments. I'll just be completely honest, like I don't do too much with lighting. The most that I've done with it is just change out the light bulbs in my own room, and also use the same lighting for the bulbs here on my green screen. I eventually found out that the perfect lighting for my green screen would be a daylight color, where it's almost perfectly white. And for other kind of scenes, such as in my stay-at-home Hitman video, I changed out the light bulbs to be red in color. The only problem with that is that, unfortunately, there were some times where I wasn't completely in the same position. For when I'm trying to do it in different colors, I'll have to just edit the lighting in post-production. But for the lighting itself, especially with a green screen, thankfully I was able to find out like what color lighting works best for it. I guess now is the perfect time to talk about the CGI that I've used, mainly the green screen that I have. It took a while, but I eventually got my own green screen, just hooked it up and everything. It works great for some of the projects that I've done, especially since I do most of this stuff on my own. When I tried making my own shorts, and I had tried to have multiple versions of myself in the same room, I would try to edit the video to split the video right down the middle, right? That way it would look like there was two of me in the same room. The problem was the lighting would be off, and the position of the camera would also be off. Don't ask me how, it just would be for some reason. So instead, what I did was I got this green screen, and now I'm able to completely cut myself out of the video and put up whatever background I want, and I can basically film myself having a conversation with myself, and there's two versions of me on the screen. And the best part is we can even interact with each other sometimes, if I do the editing just right. I usually try to stray away from CGI because I love practical effects above all else. I'm a fan of horror movies. Of course I love practical effects. That's why my favorite part about making these films was the fake blood and gore. But when I do have to use CGI, I tried to make it very minimal with what I've done. And even for that one short, the Tunnel Wraith, that one is pretty much the most CGI that I have done. And that was literally just me standing in front of the green screen. And when I put it in post, I just cut myself out and then darkened the body that was left. Aside from that, I try to be very minimal with my green screen effects, and that's why even now, there's a lot of videos that just show the regular green fabric right behind me, because I prefer practical effects above all else. Now, for acting, there's not much to really say about this one. Aside from that, personally, like originally I did not like it when people improvised scenes. Like even when I was developing like the Headsman shorts, I kind of wanted everything to be like exactly how I envisioned it. But during the filming, there would always be a couple things that would go wrong, so we would just have to go with it. And over time, I realized that I kind of like improvising. There's a few things that I've shot where it was completely improvised. Like we basically threw away the script. What little script there was of it. As long as like the overall vision and spirit of the project is realized, I do want actors to make the character their own, right? And like pull from real emotions and like real life events that they had to fuel their acting. And even when I have to be in front of the camera myself and I have to act myself, like that's the stuff that I've used a lot. Like there's entire scenes where I have gone completely off script and just improvised everything. Sometimes that's just how I have to do it, where I just have to talk off the cuff. Well, now that all my shorts are done, and I'm just waiting for the right time to release my film. What I have planned for the future is like eventually, when I'm able to get enough resources and I'm able to get like enough people working with me, I would love to actually create like full-fledged feature films based on the shorts that I've done, such as The Headsman, or like even if it's a dark comedy like The Stay-at-Home Hitman. If The Headsman is able to be made into like a full feature film and it does really well, then I might see about expanding it into like a full trilogy, where like each horror movie is like a different type of genre. Or the first one would be just like straight up slasher. The second would still be slasher, but also be like based on Numbskull the Clown, so a little bit of like splatter, like carnival clown horror, if that's even a thing. And then the third one would be like a different type of horror movie altogether. There is like a superhero parody that I would love to do. Technically, I've already created the short for it. I'd like to turn that into like a full feature-length film as well. And then there are a few licensed properties that I'd like to dip my toes in as well, but that's a story for another time. For now, for the work that I've done, I'm really excited to release this like full like hour and a half long movie, just comprised of all the shorts that I have done for like what's basically 3 years, pretty much. So look out for it and stay tuned, everyone.